So now I would like to request you all for the discussion on the panel discussion on future of work. So at first, I will be calling the names of the panelists and their introduction. So I would like everyone to take their seat. So first of all, I would like to invite Mr. Abir Poddar. Please welcome Mr. Abir Poddar, Director at Panam Group's Metro Knitting and Dyeing Mills Limited. Then I would like to invite Mr. Afrid Noor Shahid, Director at Natural Group, a major sustainable garment and fashion manufacturer in Bangladesh. He joins us in the session bringing strategic vision from his leadership role in a company committed to responsible and resilient workforce development. So after that, please help me welcome Mr. Arif Reza, Director of Operations at Rose Sweater Group, a leading garment manufacturer in Bangladesh. After that, please welcome Mr. Kausaruddin Choudhury, Executive Director of Human Resources at Walton. Where he champions strategic HR leadership. After that, I would like to request Mr. Ramesh Singh to take the seat at the front of the Regional Director for Asia at CARE and former Country Director of CARE Bangladesh with over 26 years of his experience in humanitarian development leadership. He has advanced women empowerment, youth leadership, health and nutrition across Asia. Yes. After that, I would like to welcome Mr. Saif Mohammad Moinul Islam, the Senior Program Officer at ILO. As a pivotal figure and focal point for green jobs and just transitions, Mr. Islam's work is instrumental in driving workforce transformation through skilling, upskilling, and reskilling initiatives. So after that, I would like to invite the moderator of the session, Mr. Naim Kashem. Mr. Naim Kashem is the managing partner of DevLearn, that is a private sector development and mail specialist, and he's working. He's bringing in with his 15 years plus experience with working with over 20 plus organizations in national and international level. So I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Naim Kashem. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Janet. I know that it's almost 4 o'clock. We still have 1 more hour to go. I'll try to make this session as interactive and a little bit more informal and light as possible. First of all, please, can I have a round of applause for all the panelists, please? And also a round of applause for the 2 startups who presented brilliantly, because that gives us a lot of inspiration. Thank you so much. Great. So we are here today to really talk about future of work, both from the perspective of wage employment and self-employment. So I guess my first question to Mr. Abir is, when it comes to running your factory, running a huge workforce, we're all hearing this topic about AI and automation, and that will kind of eliminate a lot of jobs. That also means we need to be prepared, and we need to invest in skills development. What I'd like to hear from you is, number 1, is it really a big threat that we'll lose a lot of jobs, or is it just a lot of myths? And secondly, if it is a threat, then what do we need to do? What are the 2 things that you think are the most important in terms of skill development?
Hi, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank CARE Bangladesh and our organizing partners and our esteemed distinguished panelists to have this event so we can share a bit of our idea for the future and the future risk. So as I was asked the question about challenges of facing AI and integration, I would say definitely there's a risk of losing jobs or losing employment basis, but we really need to understand the actual loss of jobs. AI is not going to replace jobs that are skill-based or merit-based. It is mostly monotonous jobs that will be shifted based on data studies, and regardless of how people tend to do our works on a day-to-day basis, we have monotonous works. So trying to be efficient with the monotonous work will lead to the elimination of jobs. But in reality, we have to understand that the monotonous job makes us less efficient because we are trying to do the same things on a day-to-day basis, but end of the day, we as human beings don't want to do the same work every day. because we do feel reluctant to try and improve the same work on a daily basis. So for us to face the challenge of AI integration with current employment situation in our country, we definitely should emphasize skill training that is more or less in every single sector, not starting from a worker level. I would say it goes till the senior management as well, because the integration of skills and soft skills should understand the reality of the situation where we, in 20 years back, how the industry was, and 20 years from now, how will it be? Because we have to be cost competitive in terms of global standards. So for us to be cost competitive, we have to be extremely efficient and manage the situations, basically the challenges of current industrial practice in Bangladesh. I think everyone knows the challenges and what it might face in the future. So I would say we have to emphasize a lot more employee trainings in all sectors. It should be digital training. It should be circumstantial training. Circumstantial training means on a case-to-case scenario, on a real-life situation when people face problems, how do we emphasize on problem-solving more? Because sometimes AI depends on the data of previous experiences to give you the real answers. So we have, as our employers, to emphasize on real-life scenarios to make decisions better for our employees.
Great. Thank you. That was a brilliant answer. I just have a quick follow-up on the circumstantial training. In your experience, how do you really run those trainings? Who are the right type of trainers? Do you outsource it to a certain organization? Do you organize it in-house? Just slightly keen on more, because that's such an important contextual training that is needed. And I think we miss a lot of that in many places. So how did you do that?
So circumstantial training is actually a cohesive process. We cannot do it ourselves. By the whole industry standards, the training modules are, I would say it's not outdated, but in reality, it is not actually efficient enough to face the real scenarios that is coming ahead of us. We are trying to manage the differences of skills 20 years back and trying to make it efficient enough to the current standards. But in reality, we have to focus on the future that is ahead of us. So currently, we work with our own teams. We have our own in-house team that is helping in the training programs. We partner with Care Bangladesh, as you know, and there are multiple NGOs and government institutions that do the training itself, and we currently have our training module called Panam Academia, so which we use to train our employees from root level to even management level, and we additionally have a MTO training program that is basically for fresh recruits who are trying to enter the industries. We panel with our universities in current country situations, so that once they have a training period, like they get to take a part in a training session of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, depending on the timeline of everyone, so they can come and join us. Eventually, when they graduate, they get to decide which career path is best for them.
Amazing, and a round of applause for the academy that you have established, because as an employer, these are type of investment which are amazing and really needed for workforce development in a sustainable way. Thank you. Arif, I'll move on to you. I rather have a complicated question for you. You've been in the sector for so many years, from the very beginning. And the sector always talks about workforce development, skill development, right? We know which are the topics are also evolving. There are many modalities of delivery of the training, right? You have employers organizing their own training, you have NGOs like CARE. In your experience, what hasn't really worked in terms of the delivery of the training? And what has worked in your experience?
Thank you very much. Before answer your question, actually, I'll take you to you all, maybe 28 years back, when just I passed from university. And by the way, I've been graduated and master's on international relations from Dhaka University. And all of a sudden, I joined in a garment industry as a management trainee. You just need to do something, Just before some times back, somebody was saying that there is an unseen and there is an unheard, right? The situation. I was in that dilemma. And when I started my career, after 4 years, I realized that if I want to grow and sustain over here, I need the educational training on apparel. And I was very lucky that I had a very good manager. He was a Sri Lankan gentleman. My bad luck, my father didn't talk with me 3 years because I joined in industry. Later he realized he was a great father. So my manager told me, why don't you go to Sri Lanka and get a training on apparel industry? There are a lot of short courses for the people who are already in industry. And I did it. I came back, and I joined as an instructor of the merchandising head of the BIFT, which is now BUFT. I was the head of the merchandising team. 3 years I had a contract with BGMA, and thoroughly I enjoy providing the training. And I realized that the day that how it makes the change the people. When I was in Sri Lanka, I scored 100 out of 100. And people are quite surprised. But I was not surprised. Why? Because I know all these things through the job. Only academy just made me a right shape. That's all. And today, if we look at that, even in industry also, great thanks to CARE and other people who are constantly investing their time, resources, and especially the brand, because that's a push coming from the brand side also. So I have seen a tremendous changes in industry. The workers, workforce who were in training and really picked the right thing, they have been promoted. And of course, classic example, I am in front of you. And my last achievement was that I was the country director of the Ralph Lauren, a Bangladesh office. And when I started in my factory, I'm trying to figure out the people, women, who will be supervisor. Interesting, you know what? People don't want to get supervisor. Why? Because that's you need to think, right? You need to use your brain again. So huge opportunity still we have, which I will say unrated. That is the belongings, feelings given to the workforce. Where you are working, you are the owner. Ownership transferring. That's the right place still is there. Did I answer you?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Very important question. And thanks for raising that point. I do have a follow-up question for you. You have skill level or skill requirement at very different stage of the manufacturing process. Of course, floor level, then you have supervisors, then you have senior management. We talk a lot about these trainings at the floor worker level. How much investment has so far been made by government or even the NGO sector at the supervisor and the senior management level? And how do we crack that code? How do we have more Bangladeshis working in that space and more women working as supervisors?
Last year, I was preparing a report for, that time I was in Ralph Lauren. I was preparing a report for my senior leaders that empowering women. So straight I put it that 49% women are working in industry. And I got a slap because they said, this is not the empowering of the woman. Really that out of 49%, what is the percentage is the manager? And they can manage you. And if you look at that around, in corporate level, absolutely fine. In all the corporate office, a lot of push are there, a lot of resources there, investment there. But if you go into the factory level, still, how many supervisors you'll see? Women? Rare. How many managers you'll see? Rare. So leadership is missing there actually. And even it is not from that workforce, it is from the management side also. That still, being a director, I maybe don't feel good to talk or get a complaint from a woman manager about my male colleague. Maybe. Maybe I feel still the male is doing better than woman. So still there is a very typical sense. Still there is. And over there, of course, government can do the regulation part. What else they will do? They can create the regulation. They can support us. But I do believe that CARE kind of organization, NGO, that awareness they can create. And a lot of progress been made in Bangladesh, especially, I would say, women empowering in the urban side, but the rural side is still there is a balance, right? And most of the people come from rural side for this industry. So we need to go back to actually the root. Maybe that's the right place to talk with them and bring them in industry.
Thank you so much, Arif. And the point that you made about leadership training, and often we think about leadership and we think about senior management. Actually, leadership is at an individual level, taking responsibility, taking initiative. These are all leadership skills which are highly important and needed for the sector as well. And then, of course, you have the social dilemma about a male listening to a female manager. These are type of issues that organizations like CARE need to work on as well. But thanks for mentioning the point on leadership. It's so important. I'll slightly change the tone of workforce development to type of skill. And I guess my question next to you is Natural Group for a long period of time have been engaged in denim production, right? And in the morning session, we have been talking about green financing. My big question is we can get all those finances, right? A lot of initiative can be taken for accessing finance from different sources. But if you don't have the right green skill amongst the workforce, how do you take that financing action and implement it in a way that is practical, that is going to lead to growth? So in simple terms, the question is, what's your experience in managing your workforce about improving and greening their skill?
First of all, I'd like to thank CARE Bangladesh for having me. And to get to your question, it's basically about education. It's like you have to teach your workforce on how, like the new machinery that's coming in, and like for for mainly our washing plant, our denim, we've been investing in ozone machines, laser machines. You have to teach them like how these machines, they might at first feel very uneasy using these machines since they're very technologically unsound initially. But then going forward, you can teach them about the benefits that it brings to them in terms of like a quality of life perspective. For example, the ozone machine, it's used for bleaching basically, but the older processes would use bleach as, like they'd handle bleach with by themselves, and then it would basically, a lot of like health complications would come up, sadly. But then when these new machines came about, it would like improve their quality of life. They'd get less health complications. And our laser machines also, let's say the previous process would require hand scrubbing, and this puts a lot of fibers into the air. They breathe in these microfibers, and then it affects their lungs. And later on, it leads to tuberculosis and whatnot. When these laser machines got introduced, they helped them. So basically, after these laser machines got introduced, like it completely eliminated the part of about the microfibers going into the air. It helped them improve their quality of life. The main issue was like teaching them that, oh, if you look into these machineries, if you can learn these machineries, it'll help you in the long term. A lot of times, like he said, a lot of people don't like to adapt to new things when they arise. But eventually, like since we've started investing in these projects, and then also the machine suppliers, they help us. They teach our workforce that, you know, in the long term, if you use these machines, they'll increase the quality of life for you, and like you'll be able to work longer. You'll be able to spend more time, not in the doctors, but like actually having more free time doing other things. So yeah, that would be the main thing, yeah.
Thank you so much. And thanks, Afrid Bhai, for mentioning this workers' well-being aspect, because often we talk about green financing, getting new investment, jobs will be lost, efficiency will be increased, but what we don't talk about is these investments also lead to a greater health condition for the workers, make them more productive, and just a better life, which is extremely important to highlight. Thanks so much. I guess I have a follow-up question for you. As you said, as a country, we all know that our digital literacy is not great. The stats and the numbers are not looking great so far. And it will not suddenly change tomorrow. It'll take time. So what type of tactics do you apply on the ground to teach your workforce while they're uncomfortable with these new machines, They have very low basis of digital literacy. How do you, take that step? What tactics work?
I think the main thing would be it would be man management. I'd say that since the new generation is here, I'd say for him too, he can tell you this. Like, we have a softer touch than our predecessors. And there is a way, I wouldn't say like the workers, they want their management to be, involved with them, to like talk to them, talk to them as if they're their family. You don't want to scold them like they're a child, So that's how you like bring these people on board. You have to talk to them as if like this will improve your life. Just give it a chance. And initially, of course, there's like a lot of hurdles that they face, and then you have to help them and guide them through those hurdles. It's gonna take time. It's not gonna happen like suddenly, like you said. But the main thing is to guide them through this process and then help them, and then the management portion is the major part. And a lot of people, like when you now, like he said, BGME University, like a lot of people are coming from these institutions and they're learning it's not like before. Like a lot of even management, like let's say supervisors and managers, these are they're coming in educated, so they also have a sense of how someone should be treated and how you can get the most out of someone. So I think the main thing would be man management. That's
Amazing
how you get it out of
point.
them.
Amazing point. Abir bhai, would you like to add to this point of this changing management style, and how does it contribute to increased productivity?
Definitely, like he said, we have a softer touch. We definitely do, because we have been privileged enough to start at a platform where most of our parents or even our panelists did not get to see. Like, we were much more privileged in terms of our way of starting. We have the support of everyone. We have the system. And in terms of, as you said, how management can be reinforced, we need to understand what our challenges are. So if we familiarize the challenges, let's say our operator on a day-to-day basis, in terms of swing operators or textile operators, knows much more functions than us. So if we can give them the power to understand that you are actually smart, educated, but it's not the right tool that you have to make a decision or a choice when it comes to risk management, or in terms of a bigger decision for everyone cohesively, because they have not been trained in that way. And definitely when we empower them with that training, like you, with CARE, we do it, empowerment of women, empowerment of workers, because they have to understand the challenges of the whole cohesive companies. So when they have that power, I definitely think everyone in the process involved will benefit from this.
Amazing. Thank you. Thanks for mentioning all those topics, because these are all different dimension of decent work and decent workplace, which takes me to the question to Saif Bhai from ILO. ILO have been kind of investing in the topic of decent work for many, many years in many, many countries, including Bangladesh. What have we really learned from those initiatives? And a supplementary question to that is, now that with the fall of USAID, the development fund is also shrinking, how do you see ILO's strategy kind of panning out in Bangladesh, especially in the area of working in the space of decent work?
Okay, so thank you for having me. It's great to be here. So on the issue of initiatives, right? So one big learning from that, they've been piecemeal. They're all piecemeal, right? So going forward, we are a nation that has a demographic dividend that will last 5, 6 more years, 10 years tops. And then we will not be able to, sort of boast our youth as, sort of our USP as a nation. And at the same time, we have 2 million graduates coming out every year. We have a NEET population of 12 million. We have 40% of our graduates are unemployed. Of that, I think the majority is from National University itself, so 300,000, 400,000 each year. And commensurately, the number of jobs that are being created is not there. Most of the jobs, 95% are in the informal economy. The informal economy has its own share of problem. Probably you will require another panel on informal economy, so I'm not going to go there. So for us, I mean, we have to come out of this piecemeal work that we do in terms of skills development, workforce development, or whatever you want to call it, and employment creation. First of all, we have to invest collectively in creating jobs. And how can jobs come? One is through domestic investments. B is in overseas markets. I mean, there's no two ways about that, right? And C, of course, by formalizing the informal sector or improving the informal sector, finding a niche for the informal sector, investing in its productivity, in its growth, in its skills, etc. But if we are to really progress and ensure that, you know, A, jobs are created, and B, our labor force is future-proofed. Because if you look at the garment sector alone, about since in the last decade, 30% shrinkage of the employment size, right? And most of the people who've lost their jobs are women, right? And this is due to automation alone. And there are sustainability standards coming in, which will affect all export-oriented industries, right? Especially the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive of the EU. So how far are we really preparing our workforce? I think that is the biggest question, right? And for that, so piecemeal work will not work. What we have to do is basically invest at a policy level. We have to work at a policy level in a few areas. Like I would say one is basically identifying skills. Do we have a system via which we can say that in the next 10 years, these are the top 5 skills that will be relevant for Bangladeshi youth workforce in Bangladesh and for overseas markets? We don't. We have a skills need anticipation here, a skills assessment there, a sectoral one here, another sector there. These basically get shelved. So unless you have a dynamic digital skills forecasting system, something like Singapore has Skills for Future. They have a skills forecasting system. It's based on AI and data and analytics. They do skills pulse surveys. They do HR employment, HR pulse surveys, right? You know, and they're driven nationally, right? And what are these skills going to be? These are going to be digital, of course. These are going to be green because of the sustainability transition. Regardless of regulations, we have to become sustainable to become relevant and to survive because we're a climate-affected country. These are going to be basic industry awareness. If a person wants to get into a job, you have to have some measure of what kind of job industry you're getting into. These have to be increasingly for foreign markets. These have to be language and culture. These Japanese investors that we speak to, they don't want technical skills. They want workers who understand and respect the Japanese culture, can be on time, can listen, can problem solve, and also understand the Japanese language, right? So what are those most important skills that are going to be relevant for the future for Bangladeshi workforce, given all the investment that is going to come in through BIDA, BESA, and the EPZs in our economic zones, which, by the way, the government is doing a great job of, like millions of dollars, right? But once these factories come in, once they establish shop, who's going to work there? How will they? Because these will probably be high-tech industries also going forward, right? Do our workers really prepared for it, right? Right. So this brings me to the second thing. You know, our learning system is totally messed up. Like the TVET system has been completely supply-driven. You know, I keep on saying this for a long time, but ILO has actually worked in the TVET reform system for the longest time. One of these days I'll probably lose my job, but you know. Thing is that we also realize that what we have done, yes, we have brought in certain institutional reforms that are absolutely important for a TVET system. The National Qualifications Framework, recognition of prior learning, quality assurance, certification, competency-based standards, all of that we have done. But all of this has been very supply-driven. We have not yet invested in public employment support services. We have not yet invested in a national skills intelligence systems, a national labor market monitoring platform. And there are various reasons, I'm not going to go through that, right? And the learning system cannot really be what it is right now. We have to move away from this 6-month, 1-year, 2-year TSC level, because these polytechnics, these graduates, they just don't get jobs, right? So we have to invest in things like micro-credentials, stackable micro-credentials. I do a 1-week course. I do on this. I do a 2-week course on another related topic, and a 1-month course on another related topic. Together, they gave me enough credential which is recognized by a certain industry I want to get into, and I get that job, right? And then it can be tagged to a national qualifications framework, which essentially is a piece of paper if it's not really recognized by the industry, right? And then, Marubhai was also presenting that our learning delivery system, our skills delivery system, that needs to change. We need to bring in the industry, workplace-based learning models, quality apprenticeship systems. There are various examples of how this is done. In Kenya, in the economic zone, Huawei has a sort of a DG truck public-private partnership with the industrial parks itself, right? And so do other companies. So we need to start bringing in these technologies. Now, the government machinery for the last 15, 20 years has been so fragmented and uncoordinated, it's going to, overnight, you cannot change it. So what we have to look at is where the other sort of opportunities are, potential entry points are. Could be Bangladesh Economic Zones Authority. They are investing in training institutes. Why not start with them? Create models within the government system for scale up, not for an organization here to do, another organization there to do. That's never going to work, right? So all of the good apprenticeship models that I have seen in my career are all private sector driven. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but British American Tobacco has probably one of the best apprenticeship academies, 70-20-10 learning model. So there are very smart examples of how the industry are training their own staff. All we need to do is nationally not serve as a barrier. Even if we do at a minimum level, if you can do that, then they can really accelerate. And then we can come in with policy, we can come in with investments. And one important key learning for me has been that, all of this is projectized. You have your World Bank, your ADB, your development partners coming in with funding. Now, approximately $6 billion in the last 15 years has been spent behind skills in Tibet and Bangladesh. Still, we have one of the highest divides in between the supply and demand in terms of skills and employment. So what has the result really been? Skills financing is of critical importance. When a project ends, a good practice ends. This cannot continue. We don't have to go to Germany. We can go to India, and we can see that there are innovations like skills bonds, like payroll levies, right? So if 5 companies, I want to invest somewhere, I have sort of a KPI-based financing system. The government will provide me initial support to set up training and deliver training. If I meet those, I will invest upfront. But if I meet those KPIs, the government will, through bonds, will finance me. So, we have to be smart and innovative. And the only way, I keep on saying, is this not for CARE to do, not for ILO to do, for company YZ to do, not for other organizations. This has to be policy level driven. This has to be government driven. Otherwise, it will not be scaled. And for us we have to be somehow able to influence them. So for every skills and workforce related program that I go to, I keep on emphasizing we need to keep on beating the drum. We need to keep on have people from the government. We need to have someone from NSDA. We have to have someone from BTB, from TMED, from BMET. We just have to. We have to keep on educating them, keep on building their capacity. And we have to, sort of keep our foot on that pedal continuously going, right? Yeah, I mean, that's in a nutshell. I mean, that's some of the most important areas, I think. Sort of skills forecasting, learning, smart ways of delivering, skills financing, coordinated policy making.
Amazing, and thanks for mentioning that how much money has been spent in this space, and I wouldn't say so little result, but less than expected result. That's where we are, and that's why we need scalable solution from the top in a coordinated ecosystem way. I'd like to have one follow-up question, which is basically a very important thing. You talked about micro-credentials, and that's the way to go about it in the future. That leads to short courses. That leads to an ecosystem where we work with edtech companies who can provide those micro-credentials. What I'd like to hear from you in your experience, if we had to introduce this micro-credential system in Bangladesh, what are the next 3 important steps Bangladesh needs to take to reach there? Because from the employer's perspective, that's what they need.
Yeah, so again, I mean, it is for the NSDA to do. The NSDA, unfortunately, for the longest time, has not really understood its mandate. They have sort of embarked on a rat race with BTB about NSDA, BTB. Thank you. They have embarked on a sort of a competition about who is going to certify which skill. Right? That's not why NSDA was set up. They have an important role in scanning the ecosystem, understanding the skills needs, developing, designing curriculum, propelling industry skills councils, bringing in the industry. Industry skills councils are basically what? Duty bearers of certain associations who have no idea what's happening in a company. It should ideally be HR representatives, right? And it should be properly financed, and they should be empowered, but it's the other way around. So we have to empower NSDA. One good thing is the recent meeting we had with the new executive chairman, who again has been transferred, is that NSDA is now trying to rethink their business model. One thing is they are also prioritizing micro-credentials. They understand it's important. That's one. Second is, obviously, we cannot do this without the industry. So the ISCs, they will operate via the Industry Skills Council model going forward. We just have to push them, work with them to reform the ISC model or to address these issues that have sort of made ISCs dysfunctional over the longest time. I mean, you can always have a company X, Y, Z, and you can do it through ICT division, you can do it through this association and that association, but again, the results will be piecemeal. If you're really looking for longer term results, you need the likes of NSDA and BTEB to work together in a coordinated fashion to design these curriculum and then roll it out through institutions, right? We'll also bring in academia, that is also another entry point. Some good examples already exist. I think Asian University of Women is trying to do some good work in this space. They already had this modular training system going with BGMEA. They want to expand to ICT division also. I think ICT division is going to have a critical role to play going forward, right? So in our roles, from where we sit, we have an important sort of a coordination role, bringing these stakeholders together so that they talk to each other, so that you identify, again, coming back to what skills, micro-credentials for what, basically. So you have to identify that, bring in international experts, sort of help NSD understand their role, through them roll it out, and come up with monitoring mechanisms, KPIs, and all of that is, it goes without saying.
Thank you so much for expanding on the point of micro-credential. I'll change the tone from wage employment to self-employment a little bit, and I guess that's where Ramesh comes in. And I would like to hear your experience of working with youth and women, specifically who's working in the self-employment space. My simple question is, we had this wonderful presentation from 2 startups, and we would like to see more of those startups, and not just at an urban level. You go to rural areas, you see millions and millions of small businesses who's thriving, have brilliant ideas, may have access to finance problems, but we talked a lot about that in the morning. What I'd like to learn from you is that, do you have regional experiences, examples where the skill and the mindset of the entrepreneurs has been built in a scalable and a sustainable way, not in a piecemeal way?
Right. So before getting back to the question, it has been a very educating panel. So hearing from diverse perspectives is really, and I've been thinking from the 2 presentations that we had, and also what Maruf presented. And also reflecting on the overarching theme of future of work. And I was just kind of reminiscing almost 100 years back, probably it was Ford, who said now in future, the machines would work and we will have the laser as a human being, and machines would work for us. We now, after 100 years, we realize that machines are also working and we are also working. So that's a point of reflection, and especially if we look into the pandemic phase, a lot of questions around how do we work and how do we work in future is going to shape. Also, if we look at like one crying theme is emerging from all our panelists, and then I'll connect it to the question, is that lifelong learning is going to be the future safety net. So the learn, work, and retire is long dead. That's how we should put it. And it might have worked for a few decades, but that is like what I hear from staff and what I hear from our colleagues, that constantly kind of, as the theme says, adaptive work, and so adaptive skills. And I think in that, if we look at the regional, like Singaporean model of, where a nationwide kind of model of skills future initiative, where people can get credits on and kind of like keep accumulating. So lifelong sort of learning, and where Saf talked about kind of like adaptively thinking about what is going to be the immediate and intermediate phase that skills would be required, and then preparing the workforce accordingly. Investment from the powered by the private sector, but also, as you said, like the government's role is going to be important. Then comes like when we talk about how to do it on the last mile or the rural communities where we really struggle sometime, like getting the in the mufassils and the villages, and there's so many barriers that from the development community we come to know that, okay, things that would work in a urban and peri-urban area that might not work and the language barrier can come if it has to be digitally enabled, but how is it the right language to access, and even the digital part, we know there is a big divide. So while we have a big potential here, we see in terms of, as you talked about, the green jobs and really a future in that, like of creating jobs of probably millions of jobs in the next 5-10 years. And also in the digital economy, like being part of how to integrate with the Southeast Asian and the larger digital economy. We do have, like in the region, in Nepal, in Cambodia, some examples that we have had success in terms of like working with the government and the tech firms to provide digital literacy to women and girls so that can lead to further skills development. In Cambodia on the green jobs as well, around ecotourism. So there are a few examples. But again, it needs, as you say, like it needs a comprehensive solution, and with really a target on the future, that understanding that reskilling, relearning for all of us, like including the panelists who are sitting here, what we know today, in 5 years, that is going to be obsolete probably. And so how we keep on reskilling ourselves and the entire workforce in this country, and adaptive kind of like forecasting, what will be the skills that would be required, and the variety of forces are changing that. Like it could be, we are talking high on last 5 years on the AI, but this could be anything that can change. A simple thing can change. A scientific sort of one invention can change things drastically, and products can vanish, products can come in. And so in a very volatile sort of how do you work and engage in the workforce, it is the most important part is that we keep like what is emerging, and you are kind of responding to that in a timely manner. Because as Saf was saying, sometimes time is not too much. Maybe by the time, like as youth dividend is a very short-term phenomena. And so how do we, being adaptive and capture that moment? Like production-based jobs are not going to be disappearing, but it will transform drastically. So there would be probably a need for workers to understand or skill themselves to learn how to work with the robots. Probably that would be the need. So reskilling is the kind of how to be adaptive for the future of the work. So thank you.
Ramesh. Thanks for mentioning the point of being flexible and adaptive and reskilling constantly, because skills change tomorrow. Great. At this stage, I'd like to open the floor. We do have 10 more minutes, so we can take 3 questions from the audience. Please mention your name, organization, and who are you addressing this question to from the panel. So the floor is open. Just raise your hand.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Mustafizur Rahman. I work with a global research and business innovation hub called Abanks. Congratulations to the panelists, very insightful discussion. Well, given the exponential technology, we cannot anticipate what's going to happen even 3-4 years down the line. So at times, even I myself remain very in a dilemma, what to learn and what not to learn. For instance, I hated AI Adobe Illustrator, but now I make design using Canva. This is as good as a brilliant, top-notch graphic designer. So thanks to the AI, the technology. So that's one. So now everyone can write well using ChatGPT and other AI softwares. So that's a question that what's going to be obsolete and what should be the mindset at an individual level? Because you distinguished panelists, you have nicely touched base about the role of government, private sector, or organization that impart technical training and so on. But at an individual level, from your expertise, if you have any suggestion going forward, what to stop doing, right? And Sir Ramesh sir have highlighted on the importance of becoming a lifelong learner. But nevertheless, what you anticipate, since this is such a changing landscape, really at an individual level, what should be such an unstoppable activity that we keep on doing on a regular basis so that we stay relevant? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Anybody would like to volunteer to answer that?
I'll take that.
Yes.
Just when I was hearing, it came in my mind, most probably nursing will never ending. Taking care of your family and, teaching the people and bring up or pulling up your community will never be ending. Otherwise, still the people who are really afraid of the AI, I would say, this is also never been happening. Because still, Mr. Ramesh said rightly that for robot also, you need the operator. So obviously, we saw that very nice presentation from our startup organization, that's Soulshare, that now they are running the Tesla in Dhaka road. Over there, the real Tesla is running, local Tesla is running. We'll be together, that is sure. But people-related part will be never ending, and that we should learn more. Did I answer your part? Thank
Amazing answer. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Just to complement, I think, so I have been trying to battle not using AI for a long time. but I realized that there is no, eventually, if I do not start using AI, I will become irrelevant. Like, future is AI. There's no doubt about it, right? So there's the white-collar jobs, and then there's the blue-collar jobs. So in Bangladesh's context, do AI really have a significant overpowering effect on blue-collar jobs? Not yet, I don't think so. Automation, yes, but not to the extent that it will be entirely AI-driven. We're just not ready yet. Perhaps you'll agree with me. Maybe 5 years down the line, yes. But then, like Ramesh was saying, it depends on the machines that are coming in. They will be AI powered. So you have to have basic AI understanding for a blue. And it also depends on how much a person can take. For white-collar jobs, like Bhaiya was saying, there are certain things that will remain relevant because, for example, problem solving, for example, managing situations, sort of communicating, leadership. So these are skills that will remain regardless of what AI technology comes in. And what will differentiate you is how best you can use AI to augment yourself. AI should not substitute what you do. AI should augment what you do, right? For instance, if you're writing a paper, what you should look for AI to do is to give you ideas, not write that paper for you, right? So that's most important. And this should be, my biggest fear is how Bangladeshi youth are going to use AI going forward. If we do not give the basic AI awareness to them now, this will backfire because AI is also a whole lot of misinformation, and sort of wrong usage of AI can have potential catastrophic consequences. So it's important for us to factor in. Thank you. Good question.
Great question, and thank you, Saif Bhai, for answering. Yeah, thank you. The microphone is not working. Can you come closer to?
Now it's
yeah.
Okay. So I have a question to the honorable panel members. Like, as organizations increasingly integrate AI, layoffs are often formed as necessary steps for efficiency and innovation. So, what is your thought here? Because so far I have participated all the keynote panel sessions, but this is the questions that still I don't get any answer. So, it's good for me to give some, if you are capable to give your insights and what will be the future. Thank you.
Who'd like to take on that? Yeah, sure.
I didn't hear the question clearly. Can you say it
do
again?
you mind repeating the question or the crux of the issue?
So based on AI, large organizations like Meta, Google, they are saying due to AI, we are going for this layoff. Like last 6 months, 75,000 people from Google and Meta, they have laid off. So we are talking about AI adaptation, human capital adaptive economy, but how this, in this AI era, we could be sustainable as human being and prevent this layoff type of thing. As industry leader, how do you ensure that, yes, we need human more than that AI?
So since we're in a very labor-intensive industry, like garments is safe for now, or safe for a while, I think. But for software jobs, I think lower-level software jobs are basically going to become non-existent. It is what it is. How you would adapt is you have to, you have to change with the times. Like he said, like there has to be legislation. Like governments have to step in. AI is going at a very breakneck pace. So if like he said, how children use AI and how people use AI, like if we become over-reliant on it, rather than using it to enhance our ideas and enhance our skills, we just rely on it to do everything for us, I think that becomes dangerous. So I think there has to be like government overreach. Bangladesh is not at that point yet because I think it's going to take some time until AI fully integrates into our country, but like the countries like the US, Canada, they have a lot of thinking to do from government regulation to stop layoffs and whatnot. But I'd say I also worry about the stuff you're talking about because these people they're humans, and being laid off is not a good situation, and it's unlikely they're going to get their jobs back as well because everything they're doing, lower level developers, AI can replace. Since I have my brother-in-law actually used to work at Amazon, and he was in their Alexa AI section, and basically he told me they were when he was there still, he told me the amount of layoffs he had to do were very not surprising. It was eventual, but he's it's coming to that point right now. So he said you have to adapt to the times and try to maybe learn how you can use the AI to your advantage. Maybe, and then a lot of entrepreneurial, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs also need to start using it and see what they can do. A lot of people can't rely on jobs anymore. So that's what I would say. If anyone would like to add anything? Yeah.
No, thank you. And as many sectors go through changes, like if digital cameras came and the film cameras went out of so there is a kind of change in the labor market because of the particular skills. So especially in the software and digital space, if AI is coming and if, there would be more high intensity disruption in that. But there would be, because it's a knowledge, our economies are becoming more and more knowledge economies, so there would be some level of disruption in every. Said that also, I think I want to go back to what Arif was saying, that if we look at even in the humanitarian development sector, even if I was asked this question 10 years back by a head of an international NGO, and he said in a discussion that what happens to humanitarian work if even in times of disaster, everything can be, the money could be transferred, mobile transfer, because we were talking about mobile transfer. So mobile transfer can be made, so why do we need the development workforce? I said any amount of development in human history has not been able to replace the compassion that as a human intelligence, but human compassion, as he was talking about jobs like nursing. So it also would depend that what kind of jobs are there in the market. We also know that worldwide there is a big shortage of nursing, like in UK and most of the developed countries. There is a huge demand for those jobs. So the nature of jobs would depend, like in the last analysis, how AI is going to really lead to millions of job loss, but maybe millions of jobs would be created as well because of new ways of working. And so this disruption has to be taken into in an adaptive and a manner, and being ready to learn anything like that will come. So that human curiosity and to change ourselves for even the computers when we came, like I am the first generation probably in my before our parents, after our parents that came to work on the computers, and now we can't think of doing anything without computers. So we have skilled ourselves. We went to the computers school and learned that, or learned how to use the computer. So yes. So dial-up. So we have changed enough kind of like how knowledge is stored, retrieved, and kind of like, and this is going on even long before computers came, even with the books and all, like that was the first, like the paper, putting everything in paper and preserving it was probably the first knowledge revolution, and the computers came, probably printing press came, and the computers came, and now AI comes. But the thing is that how adaptive human intelligence is that we have been catching up into that. So keeping our minds open is the biggest training for us, ourselves, and that nobody can train us. We have to keep our window of our mind open and be adaptive about it. So that's up at personal level, like being curious about what is this about? Can I learn it? What will it do for me? So something like that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh. And I think that's a brilliant way to summarize this panel, but I also see one more question. Let's go for it.
Hello, my name is Henrietta Lake, Dr. Henrietta Lake. I'm from the UK, as the accent gives away. I run a consultancy called Lake Advisory that specializes in human capital development in manufacturing. I'm here in Dakar at the moment with my colleague because we're visiting garment manufacturers, and my clients are the buyers, the big global US and European buyers. So to pick up so this is my passion. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the remarks. To your last point, open up the minds and be open. What is the best way to open up the minds to get there's minds that need to be opened, all of our minds. My clients, the buyers, I'll leave that aside for 1 minute because I'm interested in the employers, in the manufacturers here, and getting them to see the benefit of investing in human capital. So we're here talking about the machines that is here, that's coming. I can see that when I'm visiting the factories this week. Huge investment in capital and the machines. But still in this industry, labor-intensive, blue-collar, we are still going to, for the foreseeable future, need people. How do we what is the best way to persuade the manufacturers to keep investing, or to start or to increase their investment in people? Because I think there is huge untapped potential in people. So how do we do that? Have you seen models? What would work here in Bangladesh? And then my second part of my question is, all of these workers in the factory now, many of whom are women in this sector, do you believe that we can train them to work on the machines? Or do we have to get different workers? I'm very much obviously hoping that we can take the current workers and retrain them. So it's about upskilling, reskilling and de-skilling in some areas, and I'm really interested in practical examples and your advice about what would work here in Dhaka. Thank you.
Great question. Yes, I can see Saif Bhai would like to answer the question.
But I'm really hoping, because this is a very the industry is better positioned to answer this question. But I had a friend who is a managing director for a major garment factory in Bangladesh. He once told me that we bring in machines first, and then we think what sort of skills we will need. Okay, so that doesn't really work at a human-centered level. The garment industry is one of the better industries in Bangladesh. They have a Institute for Fashion and Technology. They do a whole bunch of industry attachments, right? But we have to think about other industries as well, such as ICT, leather and footwear, ship recycling, light manufacturing, bicycle production, frozen foods export. I'm not really sure we have a sort of, again, it boils down to what sort of skills you can forecast, sector specific and industry specific, and to what extent. I mean, if the industry feels that this is going to be important, then they will do it anyway. It is our job as development partners to accelerate that. And it is also the job of the government to support that in terms of policy, in terms of financing, National Human Resource Development Fund. And it is also potentially your job as consultants to bring in that expertise. Because as far as I know, I mean, the industry has its job to do, right? It is busy with orders. It is busy with costs. It is busy with managing relationships. Sort of it is busy with maintaining supply chain disruptions and all that is happening with inflation and all of that and all the economic headwinds and sort of that we're facing right now. And we could do with all the help that we can get. And the likes of your consultancies and other consultancies that have a passion for human capital development can come in with solutions and work for industries. And I would sort of request that we shy away from putting all eggs in the RMG basket, because that has been great for us, but that's also a double-edged sword. Sort of we have to diversify. So there are other sectors we need to also look at.
Thank you, sir. Very great point. Just to address the first question more specifically, because in the end the question was about the RMG sector, I'd like to give the floor to Abir Bhai a bit. I wanted to understand what led to this investment in the Panam Academy, because this is where it is all about human capital development. What was the thought process?
So I would say for a business organization, the most necessary thing is to survive decades of hurdle. So we were formed in the year of 2001. Over the last 24 years, we have surprisingly managed to employ more than 40% of women in our workforce. So within less than 25 years, when the industry started, we managed to empower women with organizations such as CARE Bangladesh, ILO, multiple other NGOs that have worked with us to actually benefit the society. Because end of the day, more than 1/3 of the populations are women, and they are also taxpayers. So you have to understand it's not just socially beneficial when women employ, it is also nationally beneficial to us. So for us to survive, we have to understand what the challenges are. And during a time where we invest so much in capital machineries, end of the day, we see that the machines are still being run by humans. And we had the opportunity to work with CARE in terms of women empowerment, and the facts I think everyone knows about from CARE. More than 80 women employees have worked in this program and currently are in supervisor roles or higher than supervisor roles. So what the benefits are that we get to see in terms of in productions that how much, if you empower not just women or a male that don't have the right tools. The main challenges are when anyone is joining the workforce in terms of manufacturing, they only get the tools to work on their sections or designated task force. Like if a swing operator is working, he will only get to learn about the limited functions of the swing machines, rather than cohesively training them to understand like what his work is giving to the company, giving to the brands, giving to the economy, giving to his social convention. That gives us the power to actually invest more in empowering human capital. Because in the long run, no matter what people say, how much AI is going to be affecting the industry, we still need humans to stitch the garments. And I don't think we are still there that automation can be cost effective enough for the end consumer to pay the goods.
Thank you. And Arif Bhai, just to answer the second point, this big question about AI and automation is replacing the women workforce because they're less digitally literate, they're less comfortable with working with machines. How do you address this? Is that an issue?
In fact, when I was hearing her question, and just now my colleague, he answered very rightly, and I thought Mr. Ramesh's conversation also, if we pull up all these, it will be like, let's take it 15 years back, sweater factory, if you know that all the machines were hand-driven, right? Every operator used to run only one machine. Today, all sweater factories are computerized machine. And when we started this journey 10, 12 years back, one operator used to run one machine, and slowly now one operator runs 8 machines. Still, work has been increased. Those days, rows had 450 hand driving machine, 1,200 workforce, and today they have 10,000 and 1,000 machine. What been increased? The market share. Because I was busy with that machine to run how the people to educate them, right? But today, AI has supported me to increase the machine run, and I'm focusing in the market. This is 350 billion market we are talking about. I'll differ with my colleague, not to concentrate on garment industry. This is 350 billion garment industry, whole world. By 2050, it will be 450 billion to 500 billion. That's the projection. What else will need? Just day before yesterday, I saw our commercial advisor, he set the tone 63 billion to export from the garment industry. But how? He didn't say that. That will do it. Right? And that's our job. So I do believe that you have a great opportunity, open up the mind of the people, how to run one operator, 8 machines, in denim factory, pocket setter, who is running, how he will be multi-skilled, or in a dyeing machine, who is running one shift, how he will run whole the shift. So there is a great opportunity more than machines on the human being to be the right professional, workforce. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. This has been one of the best panel discussion and insightful I ever had, and I don't say it in all panels, to be honest with you, because this was so intriguing in terms of the content that was presented. It was practical, pragmatic, opportunistic as well. And we talked about how the future could look like and what is the future 3 years from now and 10 years from now. So that was an amazing conversation from that perspective. So I'd like to thank you all again on behalf of CARE Bangladesh, DevLearn, and Light Castle Partners. And this is obviously just the beginning of the conversation. CARE Advisory Facility would like to continue to work with you more closely. Obviously, with some of the organization, CARE has been working for a long period of time, but now would like to work you on a more strategic way and see how we can engage better with the private sector. So thank you very much.
Yes.
And I'll hand over to Jeanette
Yes.
to complete. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Naim Bhai. Can we have a big round of applause on the closing? Yes, thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Ms. Emabed Lasso, the Deputy Country Director of CARE Bangladesh, to hand over the token of gifts and having the closing remarks. Thank you. Thank you to the respected panelists. Can we have a quick photo before going to the seats, please? Yes, I would like to request the panelists to take their seats and the final closing remarks. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. My sincere thanks to the moderator and the panelists, partners, and also our participants who brought such urgency, depth, and purpose in today's conversation. As Bangladesh stands on the threshold LDC graduation and the 4th industrial revolution, we are presented with once-in-a-generation opportunity and responsibility to invest in human capital that will shape Bangladesh's future. The key message today is clear and compelling. We must move beyond traditional training model towards employer-led, demand-driven, and inclusive works of development systems. These models must be beyond simply helping young people find jobs. They must prepare and empower them to thrive in a rapidly evolving economy. At CARE, our experience supporting the private sector and building inclusive investment, investment-led workforce solutions, and scaling them through government engagement has shown us one thing. This is systemic change. Closing the skills gap requires private investment, public ownership, and multi-sectoral and multi-stakeholder collaboration grounded in inclusivity. Action for acceleration is really very important. The time to act is now, whether through co-creation, financing, or scale, the private sector, government, and development cooperation, and actors, each one of the actors have the role to play. Together, we must build transition pathways that work and ensure no young person is left behind. Let me return to the image I began with. 100 million Bangladeshis in the stands. Let us not merely watch them. We must bring them to the field. Let's give them a seat at the table and in the stands by unlocking the talent, energy, and voice of every young person in the country through inclusive and forward-looking workforce development. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your participation, and we look forward to work with you, with every one of you. Thank you very much.